Okay, Bubba, Quasar Mercs Live here. We got it. You called it last week. You expected this pullback, and middle of the freaking day, nothing going on. Just whoop, there it is. I feel like it's 1996, and I'm singing whoop, there it is, and we saw it. So, tell me, what are we missing? What happened here? The rug got pulled here.
What's up, Big B? Listen, it's no surprise the markets were overbought. They were back up at the top end of the range. And basically, we've been range-bound trading, a couple hundred points in the S&P for the last month. So certainly when you get to the upper end of the range, you expect to sell off. I mean, if you base it on the phony jobs numbers we got yesterday, you would say, well, why are they selling off? We got 130,000 jobs. But that the markets are telling you that things are not good enough. And, the biggest problem I have here is still the lack of volume. We still don't have the participation we're looking for. But as we talked about on Tuesday, the VIX was going to hold 1740. It did. It ran up to almost as high as 22. And I think there's a lot more selling to come. I mean, I'm not going to say it's today or this minute, but I think there's a lot more selling to come. And I think you can pretty comfortably sell good solid levels into rallies, because I do think this is the beginning of the end of this particular bubble.
Okay, then I like to hear that. So this is the end of the bubble. All right. So what does that mean? Is the water's warm enough now and everybody can dip the toe back in and start buying again? Or does it, because you've had this is not the first one, we've had now a second one, and silver getting smacked earlier today as well. It just seems that it seemed like the computers are in charge, not us.
Well, I think the traders are involved, Big Beat. I think you see the selling. We saw the selling in the metal starting a couple of weeks ago. You and I both shorted at the same time. I think that we saw a rally. I think you're still going to see lower prices here yet. I think people are scrambling for assets. Debt is out of control. We're losing jobs at a record pace. And I don't care. Like I said, I don't care what the jobs number says. We know there's more layoffs coming. And, you take a look at the 306% of M2 money supply to what the market was valued at. Those numbers are ridiculous. The markets can't support that. You saw a lot of the weaker AI stocks, the fledglings got creamed. And now you start to see Palantir, who just had good news, they're getting creamed. NVIDIA starting to come down a little bit, nothing serious. Microsoft got creamed. So again, you're seeing this, and you'll see some buyers come in, but this is the way it always ends. It's the new paradigm is over. Okay. Now you got the guys trying to catch the bounce. And of course, we'll probably make a lower high, and you'll see the people buying, and all of a sudden there'll be no buyers. And that, I think, is what you're going to see. I think it's a pretty clear picture. There's so many warning signs out there that I think that, yes, there'll be rallies. There's always going to be rallies. And remember this, if we do go into a bear market rallies are more vicious than anything. So those are opportunities to sell.
Yeah, no, you're always right. The biggest pop is always in a bear market, and because everybody's short, and it just seems like everybody's short right now to me. But Amazon, down 2.4% today. Palantir down 5%, Hood down 9%. This seems to be a little bit over skis a bit here.
There's going to be a point in time where we're going to see a repeat of what we saw Friday. Yeah. If you remember last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, markets got spanked a little bit. And then suddenly on Friday, there was no sellers, all buyers, because, of course, it was a short squeeze. Right. That short squeeze lasted into Monday. We saw a little bit of selling the last couple of days. And then, in a case, bang, here comes the heavy selling. Now, we got CPI tomorrow. This will be interesting how this is going to react. But you should never be surprised at a big rally coming from conditions that get oversold. Certainly Microsoft saw a nice little bounce before selling off again. Look at IBM. IBM was just 340. It's 280. So you're seeing a lot bigger moves. And that tells me there's a lot more sellers coming into the marketplace, which means we'll see some traps. We'll see some of these big, large rallies. But I'm saying to you, in my opinion, that these rallies, when you see them, they are more opportunity to now sell. I am no longer looking to be a buyer of the dip unless I'm looking for a quick scalp. If I'm looking for a longer term position, I'm looking for that big hard charge like we saw Friday, and I want to sell into that. That's what I'm looking for, those big rallies where they squeeze the shorts out. Once you get the shorts out, it's free to go down again.
Squeeze the shorts. I like that. All right. Big bad terrible day, terrible week, terrible month for Trump. He's lost another one again. He's now Pam Bondi got screamed at. She screamed back. Is the cracks in the administration happening, showing a little bit?
I don't think there's any more cracks than there was the last time. And listen,
Okay.
we know that he is not the easiest person to get around with, right? I mean, this is not news. This has been, if you go back in Donald Trump's entire career, from the real estate business, from owning the casinos to the New Jersey Generals. I mean, he goes through people unbelievably fast. Okay, I mean, you got to really want to work with him if you want to work for him. And again, a lot of people they step back up, and of course he moves on to the next group. I don't think this is any surprise, and I don't think it has any effect to the markets whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree with that. But it just seems that this. He said a few minutes ago that he wants to do a deal now with Iran, but it may take a month. This is a guy who said, "Yeah, I'll get it done in a few weeks," and yet sends 2 warships and all kinds of assets to the Middle East.
Well, I mean, he's also a guy who said he'd get the Russia-Ukraine thing done right away too. So, I mean, again, we all know, unfortunately, in our political system, you can't get things done that fast, no matter who you are. Okay.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, it's the system more than the individual when it comes to this. You just can't do something and put together a deal because you need permission from everybody else. And of course, we know the fighting on both sides of the aisle, which, listen, our system, you were involved in it for a while. Our whole system is basically collapsed from people getting along, people were trying to work together, trying to get it done. You really have just a battle now. Either you're left or you're right, and there is nobody in between anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And it's funny watching some of the people on the right and the left. The fringes now call themselves moderates. I saw that over the weekend too, as well. All right, Bubba, I'm going to ask you one last question before I let you go. When you look at the markets, are they really being efficient right now? I mean, it seems that the algos seem to be in charge right now, and this liquidity issue is a pretty big issue. It's going to start scaring some people at some point.
I think the markets, listen, efficient is a tricky word.
Yeah.
Okay? I think they're as efficient as it can be.
Okay.
We do have algo trading, but again, remember, it still takes a buyer and a seller to create price, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's 2 algos trading against each other or 2 people. So we're still seeing price discovery. There's still market movement. Now, the biggest problem we have is that because of the Federal Reserve, because of the fiat currency system, because of the bond market, we don't have a market that is as free as it was at one time. There's a lot more outside interest dealing in these markets. So, but again, I look at it at price discovery, and I think if you understand the market, you can exploit the inefficiencies that sometimes these algorithms create. And that's, I think, is a more important message, not whether or not they're messy or inefficient, but learning how to exploit those inefficiencies.
Yeah, and you look at those inefficiencies, you got to wonder: is this still sell America? Some of this is just dumping. I mean, we've seen the 4.106 now on the 10-year. Wow, I just had to look over to check that again. China's dumping everything in the United States.
Well, listen, good for China, but they can't dump too much. I think this is being overplayed.
Okay.
Again, we owe them so much. Okay, the debt is so high that if they get too tricky, we can shove it right up there. You know what?
I like that.
There's an issue there. I think this is more for show. This is no different than the grain markets. Okay, that whenever going back to 1980 when I started, if the grains needed a rally, China's buying. Okay.
Yeah.
Look, we are not friends with China. We are enemies. Okay, that's as clear as you can.
I would call us frenemies. When you call us frenemies,
okay, I could live with that.
All right.
But at the end of the day, China's not buying our grain markets unless there's nowhere else to go. That's always been the case. That's just the way it is. I mean, Are you going to pay more to buy United States grains? Or are you going to buy South American grains? So they don't care about their people. They're going to buy where it is cheapest. And unfortunately, for the grain trade, there's an overabundance of supply worldwide. So China doesn't have to need us to come to us to buy our stuff. And that's the problem. We're producing more. Population, although growing, is not growing at the same pace it used to. Production is super high because of the efficiency in planting and farming. So at the end of the day, China is going to do what they're going to do, but they're not going to get too far carried away because otherwise they'll get it, where the sun doesn't shine.
Where the sun doesn't shine. I'll leave it at that way, Bubba. We'll see you right back here on Thursday, my man.
Tuesday, right, babe?
Tuesday. Sorry. What is
Thursday?
Heck, I've been
the man on the street, Big Beat. Have a great weekend.
I've been TV for the last 3 days. I don't even know what day it is anymore. Bubba is always my friend. I will see you on Tuesday.
Thanks, brother.